Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, grafted, adopted, however you may come. We just want to say hello to all of you all. It is a Thursday morning. And, you go outside and everybody is as busy as usual, going about their daily tasks. And I just hope and pray that when we got up this morning, that um, we just start to pray. Just got up and just prayed this morning. Prayed with family members. You know, um, Prayed for safe travel. Prayed for just different things. It's always important to wake up in the morning with just prayer. Just thank the Almighty for being clothed in your right mind. Thank the Almighty for all of that stuff. Um, I've been up since about maybe 5 o'clock this morning, um, just looking at current events, what's happening globally, what's happening in the United States. Of course, the government shutdown is still in place. There's no end to that in the near future. Um, it's starting to have its ripple effect. I remember about 2 weeks ago, we talked about what impacts the shutdown would have. How you doing, J. Rob? We talked about the impacts that the government shutdown could have, and if it continued. And now we're starting to hear about the same things that I had mentioned 2, maybe 3 weeks ago regarding the shutdown. So let me tell you what's going to happen. And this is not from prophecy, this is just common sense. What's going to happen when the government shutdown continues into February and March? Um, there's going to be, um, you know, we already heard about food inspectors not doing their job. Um, Aviation is being affected because travel travel is going to take longer now. So if you're traveling, going to the airport, um, you need to get there at least 3 hours early because the lines could be. I'm talking about if it goes into February and into March. You would need to get to the airport at least 3 hours in advance, at least minimally 3 hours in advance. Um, Gas prices, because you're going to be going into the summer where prices normally go up high anyway, but you're going to see summertime prices um, in, how you doing, Reginald? You're going to see summertime gas prices come as early as March. That go up. A lot of things going on in Venezuela now, so that's going to affect our gas prices automatically. So no, just this thing globally, what's happening is impacting us domestically. The amount of people that's trying to come across the borders of the United States has increased. Has increased. This year is going to be a different year. People are trying to flush America because they know that there's no wall. I mean, there's a wall, there's border patrol, but they know that people are not being paid. So they say, let's go now. Let's move now before this funding gets approved, and then it'll be harder for us to get in. So people are taking advantage of the government shutdown. They're taking advantage of weak points, uh, areas that you can cross the border without, with minimal constraints. Um, they're going to cross those areas now. Smuggling is going to increase. I'm talking about over the next several weeks if this government continues. So you're going to see a lot more people coming across, your border, and it is what it is. People having a hard time. Venezuela, Mexico, all of these areas, people are just, it's no food, no opportunity, no nothing. So when that happens, it's going to impact the living in the United States, because along with those individuals come terrorists. And so now you got a homeland security issue. It's just going to continue to go. So that's what you can expect when this government shutdown continues. Um, it's just information. That's all. It's nothing to. It's not doomsday or anything like that. It's just you need to be aware. You need to be aware of what's happening, and you're going to find more demonstrations, because when this government starts to ship people out, and they will, because that's what the base of the Republican Party wants. You got working people who have been here on different statuses. They've been shipped out, you know. My daughter has a young man that that's a very good friend of hers, and he was working a job, doing very good on his job. He's got a 4-year degree, some sort of engineering degree, and he was working for Hilton, doing new construction and programming their HVAC systems. They came and got him and shipped him home back to the Bahamas, and told him there was a loophole. Although you got a work visa, you got your temporary, you got not your temporary status. You got your work visa, you have this, you have that. But there's a document that you did not have that you should have gotten, but nobody told you. But now that's a requirement now. So you won't get deported in the future. So they told him he had to go back home. He called home and they told him, you can't just fly home and get it. It's a wait. You got to be home for 6 months before you can apply, and then there's a waiting list. So they deported him because he didn't have that document. He couldn't fly home and get it, so he had to go back to the Bahamas. He has to wait 6 months, apply, then go on the waiting list. Fortunately, his job is going to hold his position. But how you doing, Kelly? How you doing, Tobiah? But these are things that are real life situations that are really happening to people who have been here working. He had an apartment. He had to walk away from the lease. So when you got people who are going to be deported, who have lease agreements, who have to walk away, he had a car. Can't take his car back to the Bahamas, for the next 6 months. So fortunately for him, his family has a business, so he's able to leave his car parked and continue to make the payments. He feels optimistic that the paperwork is going to go through, and I think it's been 6 months now, and he's on a waiting list to come back, to get that one little document, so that when he comes back, he can say, here, I have all of the requirements now. And he's good. He's good. So, but some people are not going to even do that. They're going to hide. They're going to run. He went back home. But some people are hiding. Some people, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on in America as a result of the wall, the shutdown, what's happening in other countries. America is a place that people feel like they can go to school, they can have an opportunity, this is what people feel like that they can do. How you doing, Ruth? People feel like this America is a place where I can practice freedom of religion, freedom of speech. I can go to school, and a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. A lot of people come here from another country. They will go. Start a business, open up a business, and within a year or two, they're good. I remember I went to a conference in Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and I met a Uber driver who told me that he's an Uber driver, but his wife was going to school to be a teacher, and he had been here for 4 years. They took some of her college back from his country. She just got her certificate, teacher's license. She's a substitute teacher, but she was going to get permanently hired. And then while she was working, while she was going to school, he was an Uber driver and doing something else. He was working landscaping. But now she's working. He's going to continue to be an Uber driver, and he's going to go to school to get his degree so he can open up a business or work in business. And that was their 7-year plan. So his 4-year plan had just came to its conclusion, and he's going to go back to school. He says he's going to go summer school, everything. And he's learning to speak English. So people if people see an opportunity and they have a plan to get there, they do it. America is one of the few places that you can do that. Okay, it's one of the few places that you can do that. Whereas people living in the country, we don't plan like that. Because we haven't been in hardship. So, we take, some people say, well, you know what? I'm getting food stamps, government subsidies, and I'm not going to school because I just like what I'm doing. Some people say, you know what? I'm on this program, and I remember my sister, before she passed away, she went through a very bad situation. She had 3 kids, and I remember telling her, I says, go get on food stamps, Section 8, everything you can think of, get on it, welfare, and go back to school. And I told her, she had some college behind her. I said, do that for the next 2 years. If the Messiah don't come, 2 years is going to come. What have you done in the past 2 years? She did that, got a 4-year degree, became a teacher, got a master's degree, and was very successful. Unfortunately, she was killed in a car accident, but she did very, very well, and got off all of that. So we have to learn how to properly plan. And people feel like, I can come to this country, I'll take the chance, jumping over a wall, going through rivers, getting on a boat raft, going across the sea, whether they're coming from Cuba, Haiti, wherever they're coming from. I can do this. I would rather risk my life and go to a country where I have an opportunity to have a plan rather than stay in this country and starve. Because there's no food, there's no jobs, there are no jobs, there are no opportunities. Why stay? And they take that chance and they leave. And this is what's happening. And I was watching something on Venezuela and what's going on there last night. And you see mothers leaving children behind so that they can go and risk their life to enter into another country. And then after they do that, they send money back home. They come here, they get a job working at a hotel. They don't care. They don't care if it's minimum wage. They come in here, they'll file paperwork. Some of them a lot of people work underneath the table. and they'll send money back home. And that American dollar going back home means a lot. It means a lot to a lot of people. Sometimes we here in America, you know, I hear, sometimes I hear people just loathing over the fact America's going to fall. Oh, Babylon's going to fall. America's going down. And I'm listening. Why would you want that to happen? I can't say that prophetically that's not going to happen, but why are you know what I'm saying? I just don't sometimes understand when the anger of what I see, and just think about it. You got people who don't want to be in America, but you got people who are risking their lives to be in America. You got people in America who hate America, and then you got people who are risking their lives to come to America. So I just, you know, when I looked at that, what people are going through just to come here, just to have an opportunity. And then I've met people who have said, I'm here, we came over, and now we're just trying to go to school. We got a 7-year plan. And it works, they do it. But then when we get people in America, we say, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I hope this place burns. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I like the fact that I have freedom of religion. I like the fact that I have internet access. I like all of the luxuries that I have in America. I do. I love my luxuries, okay? And I don't take them for granted. I keep them in perspective. But at the same time, I keep aware of what's happening in America. I look at what's happening domestically, how things in our society are changing. And I don't think America can handle going into a gas crisis. Now, this won't be the first gas crisis. Some of you all are not old enough to remember, but I remember a gas crisis. I remember riding with my father, and the gas lines were long. I mean, they were long because gas was not getting to the pumps. It's because of certain wars, and it just wasn't getting there. And the government had a reserve, but they were like, hey, you know, gas prices go up and there's a reserve. And I remember that. I remember that, just riding with my father, standing in the line in the hot sun, windows down, waiting your turn to get gas. And then when they say, we're out of gas. And my father would never move. He says, I'm not moving. They're out of gas, they're out of gas. And I remember one time going to a gas station with my father, and the gas lines were like, literally, it seemed like a mile long. And somebody passed the word, hey, they're out of gas, they're out of gas. And the people were walking up from the back of the line, walking forward and telling everybody, hey, they're out of gas, they're out of gas. There's another over here at this place. So people were pulling out. So as people pulled out, my father kept pulling up. They pull out, my father pull up. They kept, and he got all the way to, we were like number, I don't know, about 40, 50 cars back. And my father blew the horn at the guy in front of him and said, hey, do they still have gas? And the guy says, yeah, they're still pumping. He says, don't listen to those guys talking about there's no gas. They just want to move up in line. And so you're going to see all of those little tricks of the trade come out. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a different summer. It's going to be a different summer, different year. Just just be aware, be cautious. Like I said, I'm not a prophet. I'm not telling you that I got a dream or nothing like that. I didn't. It's just common sense. If we continue into this government shutdown, these are the things that's going to happen. Grocery stores are not going to have things full completely. Okay? You're going to see there's lack of government oversight. People not getting paid. It's just the inevitable. You all hit the like button. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to see who's here and say hello to everybody. I want to say hello, Reginald. Hello, Kelly, Tobiah, Ruth, Dawi, Reginald, J. Rob. Don't forget to hit that like button. So the Great Gathering Hebrew Conference, February the 7th through the 9th, High Point, North Carolina. I've already got my ticket. Thank you for the sponsor that has already taken care of that. Spirit Airlines flying into Greensboro. If you have that's the airline to take. They have a very, very good price. There may be other competitive prices, different sites. Take advantage of that. So look at all of that and see what's available out there. We're gonna have a great time. A lot of musical artists, gospel musical artists are going to be there. So we're gonna have, there's gonna be concerts before the lessons and just a great time. I'll be there Thursday the 7th. I'm not leaving until that following Sunday morning, early in the morning. And so if you're there, we can have other discussions and extended discussions, roundtable, little sessions, little huddles. The hotel is Red Lion Hotel. Very good room rates. You can leave the room, get on the elevator, come right downstairs to the conference center. It's perfect. They've got restaurants inside of the hotel. So it was formerly a Radisson, and Red Lion has been buying some of their sites. I don't know if it's a name change or a flag change, but it used to be a Radisson hotel. Radissons are known for having multiple restaurants, conference centers, nice lobbies, that type of thing, nice rooms. So this Red Lion, which is a new and upcoming hotel brand, they bought them out and brought that site out. And it's nice, nice ambiance. And it's going to be great. Great opportunity for us to meet and talk. Brother Benaiah Israel, the producer of Hidden Hebrews. Look for that on YouTube, Hidden Hebrews. Check that out, Hidden Hebrews. Just put it in your YouTube search, check it out. He's going to be there, a part of our presentation, and you're going to have a great time. We're going to be covering who are the people of the book from a biblical and scholastic perspective, as well as the plan to salvation, explaining all of the feast days and how they are relevant to salvation and how it points to the overall plan for the gospel of the kingdom. So it's a beautiful lesson. That aspect of the lesson or the presentation is wonderful, how it all unfolds. Gonna have a good time. Bring your Bibles with you. Bring some notepads, pencils. Let's take some good notes. If you want to use your phone as a recorder, you can do that. Bring some questions when we're sitting at these little offshoot tables, whether it's at breakfast, lunch, after the conference, when the conference is over each night, we're going to get together and just really chop it up. Just sit down and talk about how to understand the Bible, how to dissect the Bible, how to look at current events and their relevancy to prophecy. We're going to look at all of that. We're going to be able to talk about all of that and show you scriptures and world history and how those things unfold. I'm bringing probably 2 computers, with my laptop, my smartphone, my Surface, just so I can say, look this up, look that up. Let me show you how all of this points to this and that. So it's going to be good. Is this the promised land, USA? No. Kenneth Stewart, God's house. So this is not the promised land. The promised land is Israel. But remember, the people that are in Israel now are not the true people of the book. They can come and join in if they return to the Most High and accept the Messiah. They can have an opportunity, but that's not their culture. That's not their practice. That's not their faith. And Revelations 2 and 9 and Revelations 3 and 9 specifically says, I know your tribulation and your trials. He's speaking to Israel. And I know them that say that they are Jews and are not. You find that scripture in Revelations 2 and 9 and Revelations 3 and 9. And remember, you cannot bring yourself to Israel, the promised land, because the scriptures say in both the prophets and the book and the scriptures, all throughout the prophets, they say when the Messiah returns, he will gather Israel one by one from the nations wherein they have been scattered. So right now, Israel, the people of the book, have been scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. However, anybody that wants to return to Torah, they can, because the same law that's for Israel is the same law for the stranger and those that want to sojourn with Israel. Now, there's some teachers and some people out there that are teaching otherwise, but you cannot get away from that scripture. He said that in the book of Exodus, the 12th chapter. Deuteronomy, Exodus, the 12th chapter. Numbers, the book of Numbers, the 15th chapter. He says the same law that is for Israel is the same law for those that want to sojourn with Israel. One law. It's the same law for everybody. Okay? So, but it's to the Jew first, it's to Israel first, then to the Gentile. That's just the way it is. I can't change that. People may not like it. People may have an exclusion doctrine that only natural Israel is going to receive salvation. That's not true. You won't find that anywhere written in the scriptures. You find the opposite of that written in the scriptures. So, Brother Reginald, USA is not a part of the promised land. USA has very little to do with prophecy when you look at what's happening in Revelation. Everything that takes place with the Euphrates River and that army coming over, all of that is in the Middle East. Will America be impacted by it? You better believe it. Think about it. When you got a big war going on in the Middle East and you can't get no oil, watch what happens to America. Okay? Watch the shutdown that happens. Watch the turmoil that happens domestically. Um, During the tribulation, there is a wilderness that the Almighty will put angels there. You can read that in the book of Revelations. You can read that in the book of Psalms. He says, I will put you in the desert, and then the desert will flourish, and he will put angels there that will protect Israel. Before the children of Israel went into the promised land, they had to go through the wilderness. Same thing happens. Before the Messiah returns, during the tribulation, there's a wilderness. That's a different subject, different lesson. I'll teach at a different time, but that's scripture, that's Bible. You can take that to the bank. So, but yeah, America is not the promised land. America has very little to do with prophecy as far as where everything is going to unfold. Everything's going to unfold in the Middle East. Where you're dealing with the ECU, you're dealing with Rome, and you're dealing with that army coming across that Euphrates River, and that turmoil, all of that is going to be in the Middle East. But will it impact America? You better believe it. Will it impact our living? You better believe it. Will it impact supply and demand? You better believe it. Will it impact travel? You better believe it. Will we, because of the panic and stuff that we're going to go into, if we're still here, I plan to be in the wilderness. I won't be in a place of safety. But yeah, it's going to happen. Is domestic terrorism going to rise? Yeah. You got so many people crossing the border right now, it's going to happen. So, yeah, a lot of things. So those are things we're going to talk about, not in our presentation, but those are things that we can talk about when we're sitting around the round table during the conference. So I did a segment called "The Gospel According to the Prophets." I'm going to do that lesson again on a Friday night. It's probably would take about 3 weeks to do that lesson. Not no time in the near future, but again, Friday night on Bible study. I'll talk about that tomorrow, but later today. But don't forget those that are part of the channel that do the Bible study. You're supposed to go figure out. We gave you the feast day dates for Passover, unleavened bread, and Pentecost. Your homework was to find out what date is the Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, and the 8th day. And we're going to show you how to do that. I showed you how to do it, so go back and look at that lesson that we did, not this past Friday. That was an inspiration, but the one before that, because it's important that you learn how to do it. Because if you're in the wilderness and there is no calendars, I'm not saying that there would not be, but you need to learn how to do it, okay, for yourself. So that's the homework for Friday night, which is tomorrow night. Okay, so listen, shalom, I'll be back. I'm going to be doing several car cams today, just talking about current events and that great stuff. So we'll talk soon. Don't forget to hit the like button. I just want to say hello. Let's see who's here. Wardy P, how are you? God's House. Ardrea, shalom, how are you? Biblical T, how you doing, Tia? Ruth, Dawi, Kenneth, Sabrina, good morning. Sabrina, I was in Orlando. I was up there at with Pastor Israel Ben Israel. He did a good job. And Elder Melvin from the Israel of God will be our speaker this weekend. In fact, I pick him up from the airport. Tobiah, Kelly, Reginald, J-Rob. Don't you all forget to hit that. I'll be back. I'll be back this morning very shortly. Give me a few minutes. Give me about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to come back and we're going to chop it up some more. Don't forget to hit that like button. Peace and blessings to all of you. Long Dab, I'm sorry I'm getting ready to cut off, but I'll be